What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today we're back with another episode of the Do It Right series. This is a series in which we break down different stretches, exercises, range of motion. We go over what not to do, how to do it, and then some few variations that you can also try to help vary your stretching exercises. Today's topic is going to be on the Jefferson Curl as suggested in the previous video. If you want to suggest a future topic for the Do It Right series, then feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below with your suggestion. The Jefferson Curl is a loaded hamstring stretch, and I would actually go so far to say as it's probably one of the best hamstring stretches that you can do. And there's many reasons for this. It is a loaded stretch. It's very effective at building range of motion, so it's very useful if you are a beginner, but it's also great at strengthening through a full range of motion as well once you have a decent range available to you. It's just a really great all-round exercise for various reasons. However, there are a few do's and don'ts when it comes to the Jefferson Curl that I commonly see people make, so we're going to go over now some of the mistakes that are common with the Jefferson Curl. The first mistake that I see people make is they try to treat the Jefferson Curl as a little bit of hip hinge. When we train hamstring flexibility, we need to understand how we hinge at the hips to develop hamstring range of motion. However, this is not the focus of the Jefferson Curl. The Jefferson Curl is a spinal articulation. It is not a hip hinge. So if we see somebody doing a Jefferson Curl and the first movement is their hips moving back or moving from the lower back, then we know they're trying to hip hinge their way into the stretch. Instead, we need to focus on the move coming from the top of the neck and working its way down the spine. So we need to have that spinal articulation segment by segment, working all the way down, curling up until we get to that bottom end range position. The second mistake that I commonly see of the Jefferson Curl is people do not keep their legs straight. Now this one is really common with hamstring stretching in general. You need to keep the legs straight to get the maximum stretch for the Jefferson Curl and hamstring stretching in general. Both the calf and the hamstring cross the knee joint, which means that in order to get the most stretch, we must keep the leg locked and straight so that we can then effectively stretch the hamstring. This also makes sense if we're trying to take this into any future work. If we're just trying to develop a range of motion, we're almost cheating ourselves by bending the knee slightly. There is a slight difference between bent leg and straight leg hamstring flexibility in the way we train it and also the transfer it has. So for this reason, we want to make sure that we maintain an active lockout of the leg. So to do this, just try to think about contracting your quad. By contracting your quad, you're going to almost try to force the leg to go straight, but you're also going to help support the knee joint because the quad is active. The third and final mistake that I commonly see with the Jefferson Curl is too much weight too soon. Now, adding weight to stretching, loading stretching can be very effective, but it needs to be done correctly. Because if we add too much weight, then our body gets used to needing that amount of weight to get into that range of motion. Let alone the fact that this is a novel stimulus, it could be new to some people, and we also want to make sure that we load up this slowly and take our time to build up the amount of weight that we can do in a Jefferson Curl. We always want to use the least amount of weight that we can use to get the response that we need. So if you can add 5 or 10 kilos to a stretch and you can actually get a decent response, a decent stretch out of it, then that's great for the moment. As you get more advanced, maybe you start adding a little bit more weight. Maybe you go to 15 kilos or 20 kilos. But it's not the sort of thing that I would jump straight into doing body weight Jefferson Curls. It's a great way to, one, injure yourself, and two, not get optimal results. So take your time to load up slowly. Now we know not what to do, how do we actually do the Jefferson Curl, and what are a few modifications that we can make to it to get some different responses out of it. Number one, the Jefferson Curl, as I said, you just need to think of it as a spinal articulation exercise. So standing on an elevation, we want to be holding the weight. This can be with kettlebells, it can be with a barbell, it can be with a dumbbell, it could be just with a plate. It doesn't really matter as long as you're holding some form of weight in your hand. Stand up nice and tall, and then you're just going to tuck the chin, and then you're going to continue to flex your spine, trying to wrap vertebrae by vertebrae right down the spine, keeping the chin tucked, and then going deeper into the stretch. Eventually you'll end up at the base of the spine, and you should be in kind of your max forward fold position, holding the weight overhead. In this position here, we want to try and think about reaching down towards the ground, keeping those quads engaged, keeping those legs locked. Hold this position for a few seconds, and then we're just going to reverse that motion back up. So we need to think about, again, curling vertebrae by vertebrae up from the bottom of that stretch. And we can repeat this one for about 5 repetitions, adding a slight pause on the last rep. So that is the basic Jefferson Curl. One modification that I really like is adding a slight straddle to this position. Now we can take the straddle as wide or as narrow as we want, but this one is a really great one for transferring over to something like the pancake. So we can do a straddle Jefferson Curl and we perform it in exactly the same way. We just have our legs in a straddled position. Now this straddle position is going to vary of intensity. Just make sure that you're having some grippy shoes. Make sure that you can support yourself comfortably, because feeling safe, feeling like you're not going to slip out of that position is very important for getting the most out of this exercise. And then perform the Jefferson Curl in exactly the same way as we just did, but your legs are in straddle as well. And this can help with your pancake flexibility. But that's kind of basically the Jefferson Curl. Is a super simple exercise, but it's very, very effective at building up hamstring flexibility, whether you're a beginner or an advanced trainee. If you have any questions about today's video, if you want to suggest a future topic for the Do It Right series, why not leave a comment in the comments section down below. If you just enjoyed this video, you can hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button if you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe. But that has been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.